Daniel Dubois is at the best point of his career,
knocking out Anthony Joshua in front of 96,000 people in Wembley. But no one expected it like this.
A lot of people were very much surprised seeing Anthony Joshua face down, ass up.
With Daniel Dubois, he has one of the best underdog stories in boxing. He was called a quitter for years after his loss to Joe Joyce.
only 27 years old, so he still has a lot of years left at the top level of heavyweight boxing.
And I want to see an Usyk versus Dubois rematch.
Let's rewind the clock to Friday night at the return of Jaime Munguia.
And this was a good win, especially him coming from a loss.
Jaime Munguia showed patience. He also showed, once again, this guy has so much power in those hands.
People started, doing the little matchmaking, pinning Munguia up against
Berlanga, Mbilli, Caleb Plant.
Welcome back to another episode of the Last Round Podcast, where we cover everything from traditional boxing to influencer boxing and everything in between. In today's episode, we'll be going over the dominant performance from Daniel Dubois as he obliterated Anthony Joshua, as well as the return of Jaime Munguia on his official top-ranked debut. But before we get into the episode, make sure to like and subscribe and follow us on all forms of social media. Lastly, don't forget to join us on Discord. We're trying to build up a community, and you joining would be greatly appreciated. But now diving into the episode. First off, let's start off with the heavyweights. Heavyweights, the Glory division has been one of the best divisions in boxing since the dawn of man, and this past weekend was no exception. We had Anthony Joshua returning from his Francis Ngannou KO victory as he took on in-form Daniel Dubois and the current IBF World Heavyweight Champion. Sold out at Wembley, 98K, world-shattering records. And this fight was as expected, like as any Anthony Joshua fight normally is, action-packed. Win or lose for him, honestly. He's if he wins by devastating KO. If he loses by devastating KO, or Usyk is the exception there. But I'm just saying, Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, this fight was really great, man. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and it gave us a lot of indications of what might happen next in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, definitely. Daniel Dubois now is the prince, kind of. Probably not still, but I mean, he has so much hype right now. Got his best career win, knocking out Anthony Joshua. And the thing about this win is that it wasn't even close. Like, it was just one-sided from the first round. Daniel Dubois came in and ready to fight. This build-up, it was pretty respectful. There was instances where like it started heating up. Some words were exchanged. But Daniel Dubois, he backed up every single word that he said. He went in there and he got the stoppage win. Super impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. I believe. Just with the post-fight the post-fight conferences that they had before the fight. I mean, you could tell that Daniel had some type of look in his eye, something that he wanted to prove, and I think it kind of stems back from just from the things that the haters have been saying. He's a quitter, blah blah blah. He's not going to make it. And I think that was a thorn in his side that he wanted to get rid or just kind of separate away from that. And I think he did it this past weekend. He performed at the biggest stage of his career, going up against the guy who a lot of people didn't see him having a chance of beating, and he proved the haters wrong once again.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think a little underestimation by Anthony Joshua was in order, and also from the public. And with Daniel Dubois, he has one of the best underdog stories in boxing. Like, he was called a quitter for years after his loss to Joe Joyce. And I'll be honest, I called him a quitter. I thought he didn't have any heart. I didn't think he would make it to the top of the heavyweight division. But time and time again, he's built up, fighting more and more opponents. And now he's got the biggest career win, KOing Anthony Joshua in the 5th round. I'm not going to count him out anymore, and I want to see an Usyk versus Dubois rematch.
Yes, because Anthony Joshua, big favorite in the fight. I think DAZN posted like a poll saying who's going to win, and Anthony Joshua had like 80+% of the poll saying that he was going to win. But it's funny because I mean, Daniel Dubois is the champion, or he was the champion going in. He still is. He remains champion, but he was the IBF World Heavyweight Champion. And people tend to kind of overlook that. They're saying, oh, it's a email belt because Usyk was stripped off from it shortly after he became undisputed after his fight with Fury. So people were also calling him an emo champ, saying, nah, I mean, you just got it because the IBF is being the IBF, always stripping off their champions and giving it to their mandatories if they don't fulfill their obligations for the champions. So Daniel Dubois, even though he was the underdog despite being champion, he fought like the champion. He made Anthony Joshua look like the challenger. I mean, from the opening bell, he had Anthony Joshua on the back foot. And in the first 30 seconds of the fight, early on, like we're barely even sitting down, man. I'm barely opening my bag of chips when Daniel Dubois already has Anthony Joshua in trouble. So it was glorious. It was incredible seeing this huge performance from Daniel Dubois, and I'm very excited to see what else he decides to do.
Yeah, because I mean, Daniel Dubois came prepared, and he had a great game plan as well. You know, he immediately put Anthony Joshua on the back foot, made him go on the ropes, and he had a phenomenal jab in there. Quick, strong, explosive. It kept on knocking back AJ's neck. So he came in there like ready to fight, and I think AJ kind of... Yeah, I don't think he was like ready for just like that instant kind of turn on, because he didn't seem like that ready, that prepared. And I mean, a very big mistake that he had was his hands down. That's the reason why Dubois got the KO, the knockdown in the first round, was because Anthony Joshua had his hands down, and he exited. He took a step back with his hands down. Dubois just followed him out and got the knockdown.
Yeah, for me, props to Daniel, and I'm not saying this as an excuse for AJ, but I really do believe that he overlooked Daniel a lot. I mean, I think him and Eddie Hearn and now Turkey have a lot of plans for AJ. Now that all those plans have probably gone to shit now, probably they have to make a different maneuver for his career. But I truly believe he overlooked Daniel. Daniel was a guy who, they labeled him as a quitter, and he proved that he's not a quitter.
Well, I mean, he's been on fire.
He's been
past
on fire.
4 fights.
Yeah.
He's been doing really, really good, really big things, and now he got the biggest win.
Yeah, he's also not, he's active. 4 fights in the last 13 months. Since his loss against Usyk, he's beaten Big Baby Miller. He's beaten Filip Hrgovic. And now most notably is Anthony Joshua. And we're talking about a man in form, a man who's staying active, a man who's sharp. And Anthony Joshua as well. I mean, Anthony Joshua coming off from knocking out Francis Ngannou, which I don't really give too much merit because I was expecting that type of knockout or that type of win for Anthony Joshua. But before that, I mean, he had Robert Helenius knocking him and sparking him out. And also Otto Wallen as well. So Anthony Joshua was in very good form as well. So seeing what Daniel Dubois did to him was kind of mind-blowing and very unexpected, which is why I believe this is it came to a huge shock to me.
Yeah, it was a very big upset. And the crazy thing about it is some people, AJ was the betting favorite, that's for sure, going into the fight. But there was also some people, that were saying, okay, Dubois is going to win, he might win. But no one expected it like this. It's so dominant, so one-sided, and the KO was beautiful as well. I mean, this was Anthony Joshua hurt Dubois for in one instance right before the knockout sequence, and AJ thought he was really hurt, so he pressed, got a little too greedy, tried to load up with an uppercut from far distance, and Danny Dubois just met him with a short right hand, sparked him out. I know the photos are going around the internet. They're going crazy. They're going viral. So it was just a beautiful sight, and it really shows, heavyweight boxing, why it's so loved. One punch can completely change the fight.
It's so loved, but it's also so unpredictable. I know a lot of people, they may shit on today's heavyweight era compared to like the 90s, 80s. You know, you think of 80s and 90s, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis. You know, maybe early 2000s was Klitschko, but I mean 90s and 80s. You know, a lot of people will give props to those heavyweights as well. But I feel like when it comes to a heavyweight fight, it can go either way because both guys are so big. Like one punch can change the trajectory of the fight. You know, the rhythm of the fight. A lot of people were very much surprised, you know, seeing Anthony Joshua face down, ass up. Mm-hmm. But you also have to take into consideration that Daniel, you know, since he was labeled a quitter, he's fought his way to get back at that to be at that number one spot contender wise. You know, he fought or champion. I mean, yeah, going back to the email. Him being labeled as an email champion. I mean, yes, he was giving it to him through an email, but I mean, he fought these guys like before this. He fought Hrgovic, tremendous fighter, a guy who no one really wanted to fight him. He fought Big Baby Miller, and he sparked him out. And so, you know, he fought Usyk and he came up short, but he definitely learned from that mistake, and there's a reason why he looked the way he looked this past weekend.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely earned it this one time. You know, it was an email champ. Maybe he didn't feel like a champion, but knocking out Anthony Joshua in front of 96,000 people in Wembley and the clip going super viral on the internet, now he definitely feels like a champion. He is a true champion. Daniel Dubois is the real deal.
Yeah, he's the real deal. He's the man who's now at the top of the one of the big names at the heavyweight division, one that many people, if you told him like 5 years ago that he'd be number one, he'd be the one who knocked out Anthony Joshua, they really wouldn't believe you at all. So now Daniel Dubois is at the best point of his career. He's at the door of many big fights at heavyweight. I mean, Frank Warren, who manages Daniel Dubois, said, you know, we're looking to have him fight again, hopefully in December, and then potentially afterwards get the winner of Usyk and Tyson Fury, which would be a huge undisputed showdown. Imagine in the UK, another sold out show, because now I'm sure Daniel Dubois has generated and gained so many new fans since sparking out Anthony Joshua. So there's a lot of big rooms or a lot of big opportunities for Daniel Dubois. His career seems to be taking off finally. He's only 27 years old, so he still has a lot of years left at the top level of heavyweight boxing. And you never know, he could potentially fight Martin Bocoli. He could fight bring in a Big Baby Anderson in there again, or not Anderson, Miller in there.
No, he already stopped him.
We need to see the rematch. Bro. We need to see the rematch. No, but yeah, Daniel Dubois is at a point that he's very, very happy, and he should be very proud of this very, very solid and very great performance he had.
Yeah, well, Zhilei Zhang called him out. Yeah. You know, made an actual video and clip going around of calling out what's his fucking name?
Daniel Dubois.
Daniel Dubois. Yeah. So yeah, maybe we could see that as well in the future. I think Frank Warren made it clear that he wants to keep Daniel Dubois busy, maybe fighting in December, which is an extremely fast turnaround. I mean, we're talking just a couple of months away, and he already wants him to get him back in the ring. So yeah, we could definitely see a lot of things from Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel has quite a bit of options, but if I'm not mistaken, Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, they do have a rematch clause within the contract. So if they choose to execute that, then I mean, Daniel has to fight AJ. Do you guys actually think we could see a rematch between them two?
I mean, yes, because AJ and Eddie Hearn, they still are a huge draw, and a lot of people would actually be interested to see what AJ does to improve on in the rematch. But the thing with AJ, also a very good thing about AJ is that every time he rematches, he seems to be better than he did in the previous fight. I mean, look at Andy Ruiz. He just outboxed him. Very boring fight overall, but he just outboxed him, showed him that, hey, it was a fluke. Then you go on to Alexander Usyk, and even though he lost both fights, he didn't win the rematch either. He did a lot better in the second fight than he did in the first, and he showed a lot of new new aspects, new perspectives, new things to his game, and it showed that he and his team are capable of adapting to his opponent and trying to bring out a new, different Joshua. And I think Joshua is capable of doing a lot better in the rematch. And it's one that if I were him, I'd try to aim for. Turkey also said that he wants to make AJ fight Tyson Fury next in the scenario that Fury loses again against Usyk. So there's still a lot of things in the table for Anthony Joshua. I probably don't see him coming back until next year, but until then, I mean, let's see what the December showdown between Usyk and Joshua, or Usyk and Fury, goes down to.
Yeah, I could definitely see Joshua fighting a lot better in the rematch against Dubois. I think he committed a lot of mistakes, especially chin up and hands down. That was probably the biggest one. And he could adjust, but I don't think the outcome would be any different. I think it's Daniel Dubois. Like, he's on fire right now. It's his time. I think in a rematch, even the best AJ, I don't think is going to beat Daniel Dubois. I mean, he also showed he has a chin. I mean, he took a couple right hands from AJ, and one of them buckled him a little bit, but he was still game, and he countered him, came back and KO'd him. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be any different, honestly. So, I would rather see Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder?
Yeah.
Pair up the two losers together.
Exactly. It's the perfect time to make this fight. This fight has been rumored for like 7 years now. I mean, it's been insane. And I think both of them coming off of a loss, Turkey has to make it in Riyadh season.
Instead of being able to see Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua fight each other in their prime, we get to see them when they're both in their decline.
Yeah.
Like, so ironic. It's boxing for you, man.
Yeah,
but what's funny is that I mean, you can maybe draw a comparison, and let's say if that fight actually does come to fruition, Wilder and AJ, it'd be similar to like the instance of like Pacquiao and Mayweather. They fought each other not at their prime or whatever. But I feel like when it comes to the aspect of they're both heavyweights, they're both power punchers. It could still go either way, even though they're still past their prime.
Mm-hmm.
Well, personally, I would bank that Anthony Joshua would spark out Deontay Wilder.
You never know.
I do know. Look at how Deontay Wilder
He knows.
Look at how he fought against Joseph Parker, and look how he fought against Zhilei Zhang, bro. Come on, you cannot tell me that version of Deontay Wilder beats this version of Anthony Joshua. Like, it's not compare. I find it hard to see Deontay Wilder beating Anthony Joshua at this moment of time. Yes, he's coming off a loss, but also Deontay Wilder, he got sparked by Zhilei Zhang, and he hasn't looked good.
He has the touch of death.
Oh yeah, the right hand, blah blah blah. That's the one. Also, Anthony Joshua also has an equalizer in his right hand. He's a heavy-handed. He's a big heavy puncher. Oh my God, power puncher.
Yeah,
power puncher as well. So I would say Anthony Joshua sparks out Deontay Wilder if they were to fight next.
Yeah, I think I would too. I think Deontay Wilder kind of had a more steep decline than AJ. Maybe is a bit more gradual. But one thing's for sure, I don't want Anthony Joshua to retire. There was some people that were asking him, even in the post-fight press conference, about like retirement, and AJ made it clear that he's not retiring. He's like, no, I'm gonna fight on, continue, and I think that's a good decision. Maybe he didn't get the win this time. It is what it is. He went in there and performed still in front of 96,000 people. So he's still a very big draw in the UK and all around the world. He's still he has still great skills. So I definitely don't want to see him retired.
Yeah, I don't want to see him retired either. But I mean, you also have to take into consideration that he's been sparked out twice now. First it was against Reese, now it's against Daniel. You also have to take into consideration his health. You know what I'm saying? I understand, they're heavyweights or whatever. Sometimes we have other heavyweights right now at this age, at this time, that are even older than him. They got Bacoli, who's like in his later 30s. We got Zhilei Zhang, who is 40, 41, and they're still going. They're still pushing. But when you get sparked out like that, there's always that question, will he be back? Can he come back? AJ has shown that he has been able to come back and improve, But he is at 34. That could take a toll.
I think it's still too early. I think he should still go on. Yeah.
Well, Anthony Joshua the thing also was Joshua, because they always say, oh, he's chinny. He doesn't really, his chin isn't the best. True, but heavyweight boxing, everyone gets clipped and everyone gets dropped at one point or the other. The greatest heavyweight fighters have been dropped, man, and or have been stopped as well. So saying that Anthony Joshua is too, as a glass chin or is a bit chinny is, I think, a bit of a stretch. I would say that his main issue is his recovery, in the aspect that he gets hurt and he's not able to recover. His recovery time is not the best, and I think that's what it really affects him throughout his fights. I mean, look at the Andy Ruiz. He was absolutely gone after he got dropped the first time. And then this one, after the first round, he was absolutely just gone himself. He didn't look the same. He didn't look as good, and I believe it's because he just doesn't have the best recovery, even though he comes in the best shape of his career and stuff like that. So it's Anthony Joshua just has that recovery issue, and it's just something that he just has to deal with.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, his career, it's a bit of a weird, because I guess he has to go back and build himself back up. But Dubois finally is at the top of the division. He is a world champion. I'm curious to see, if he actually will fight in December, because I feel like that's too soon. I mean, this was a one-sided victory, but like, you got to take some time sometimes to relax and let your body rest. But I guess he's gonna go back in already.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, that's exactly what I was thinking too. But I feel like there's two reasons. One, I mean, he's been pretty active when what you said in the past 13 months. He's fought 4 times against guys who are within the elite status. So who's to say that he can't take on another elite fighter back in December? But I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of like a tune-up fight, like a homecoming type of fight for him in December. I wouldn't be surprised of that either. But I feel like, Frank Warren has been working with Daniel I'm pretty sure since the beginning of his career. So he understands Daniel and he understands the position that he's at. Frank Warren has been an elite promoter for many years now. I think this is like a generation thing. I think maybe his father was also a promoter back in the day. But, I mean, he understands Daniel and the position that Daniel's in. I think they're seizing the moment. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. Frank Warren's fighters keep on beating Eddie Hearn's fighters.
Yeah. What's up with
that? Back then we had the 5 versus 5 in Riyadh, and all of Frank Warren's fighters beat all of Eddie Hearn's fighters, and it continues to go on.
He's on the streak, man.
Frank Warren might have the best fighters in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also speaking about the keeping Daniel Dubois active, it might be because, let's say, Anthony Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk are set to fight in December. Let's say hypothetically Fury beats Alexander Usyk, then that's gonna open up maybe a trilogy. Also, Fury has the tendency to take long breaks or long inactivity periods. So, and then Usyk, let's say if he wins, I mean, he's going to come off from 2 big heavyweight showdown fights with Tyson Fury. I mean, that's going to take a toll. He's gone through 2 hard, or this is his second hard training camp this year. What is there not to say that he's not going to decide to take a little break in the beginning of the year? Maybe not fight until the summer or maybe even until the fall of 2025. So I think the plan right now for Frank Warren is to keep him active at least until the end of the year, and then potentially give him a little break to have maybe in the spring take the time off, a couple months off, and then when the winner of whoever wins this clash between Fury and Usyk, whenever they're ready, then Dubois is well rested and is able to just have a good training camp again and then take them on.
Yeah, it does. A lot of the heavyweights right now kind of fringe on like the result of Fury and Usyk. Even they've been going at it. They had their fight earlier this year, and they've pretty much this whole year 2024 has just been Fury Usyk. So everyone is just kind of looking at them, seeing, okay, well, how's the heavyweight division going to look? Who's going to be at the top of the heavyweight division?
And it will be the Gypsy King, Tyson
I think
Fury.
So too.
Tyson Fury
Shit, early.
Is gonna get it's gonna get his lick back. I'm telling you right now,
he's gonna shut the haters up too.
Yeah.
They saw each other in the stadium.
Yeah, they interacted.
They interacted with each other. Fury was very friendly. Yeah, I'm surprised. Surprisingly, I thought they were gonna be. Or I thought Fury was gonna be call him a dosser or some bullshit. But he was. I think he told. I think he told Usyk, "You boxed both of their heads off. You boxed both of their heads off. Boxing pays the bills," or something like that. Like super, friendly. It was,
And he
it was
also
funny.
boxed his head off, but
And then he what?
And then he also boxed his head off. But
Yeah, I did see that. So the comments were saying that.
So, yes, Anthony Joshua was obliterated in a KO of the year contender against IBF World Heavyweight Champion Daniel Dubois this past weekend in a sold-out Wembley Stadium. So this was a big moment in UK fight history, and one that is gonna give us a lot of good things to look back on when we go over our Fighter of the Year. When we have our award show again.
Yeah.
So Daniel Dubois right now is a good front runner, a good contender at the moment for Fighter of the Year, and a very solid fighter as well. But moving on to a different fight. Let's rewind the clock a little bit to Friday night. Friday night, Top Rank hosted another boxing event, headlined by the return of Jaime Munguia, as he was set to make his official Top Rank network debut against I forgot his name again.
Bosnian?
Eric Bosnian. Yes, I keep forgetting him. Eric Bosnian, top 10 contender within all 4 of the sanctioning bodies, and this fight was entertaining. It was great. A lot of good moments in there, and it showed a lot of what I was really not proud. I was really happy with Jaime,
Like a father.
Yeah, I was happy with Jaime Munguia's performance. I thought it was a very solid win, and one that he needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a very competitive fight, very close fight. Bosnian came to fight, man. I'm not really. I don't know him that much, but he showed up amazing performance. His jab was the key to his performance. It was the best thing that he was doing in the ring. His footwork as well. In the early rounds, it was all him. I thought he was winning them very, very good. Outboxing Jaime Munguia. But Jaime Munguia showed patience. He showed head movement. And he also showed once again that this guy has so much power in those hands. Every time that he'd land, the Jaime would land a shot on Bosnian would start getting hurt, So Munguia, he's a very big power puncher, and he showed methodical breaking down his opponent, and he got the knockout win. So it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, as a fight fan, this was a great fight because this was on Friday. So Friday night, this was a spectacular main event. It was against a guy who, Jaime Munguia, an elite fighter. He came up short against his fight against Canelo, and he was going up against a guy who was ranked number 1 in just about in all the 4 sanctioning bodies, undefeated. And I didn't really know much about this guy, but him being undefeated and after I saw the first 4 rounds, I was like, oh, there's a reason why he's undefeated. This guy had an elite jab, a really good jab. He was able to control Berlanga. Munguia. He was able to control Munguia. And one thing that I liked about Munguia, or there was a few things that I liked about Munguia. Munguia really took his time. He lost the first half of the fight, and when I was watching the fight, I was reminded of clips of Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. and the fact that he would take the first round, maybe the first 2 rounds even, and he would lose them. But I feel like he would study or he would download the data and take his time and then eventually break down his opponent. And I feel like that's what eventually happened with Munguia. He lost the first 4, but then eventually, his strength, his size, he was able to impose those things, and he was doing some things that I like. His legs were pretty good. He was being able to step into his punches, step out of his opponent's range, and I think that's what it was. And then at the very end, the icing or the cherry on top was the stoppage. Mm-hmm. And this was a good win, especially him coming from a loss as well.
Yeah, a lot of questions about, not only if he was going to be, the same fighter, but also what he learned. There was a big thing, what was the experience like with Canelo? And I think the main thing was probably the patience, I'd say. Maybe some head movement. He did a lot of, he showed a good showing out, but definitely some things to still work on with Munguia. I'd say the most notable one is the pressuring, cutting off the ring. He kind of struggled a little bit with this guy, kind of tracking him down. Because he first of all he had a phenomenal jab, and also he had good movement with his legs. He was moving around the ring, boxing well. And Munguia sometimes would just get into the habit of following him instead of actually trying to cut him off, get him on the ropes, and land some shots. I'd say that's probably one of the things that Munguia still has to work on.
Yeah, Munguia. Of course, there's things that he probably could have done better in the fight. But yeah, Bosnian. Very elite jab that he had, very spectacular. I think that was his bread and butter punch. The jab kept pumping it out, kept Munguia out of range, kept him in control throughout a lot of the fights. Made it very competitive. Was winning. I had him ahead in my scorecard before the half of the fight. So Munguia really put on the boosters and got the stoppage win on him. So now that he got this win, got his confidence back, got especially a win against a top 10 contender, people started doing the little matchmaking online like they always do. And they're pinning Munguia up against Caleb Plant, up against Berlanga, who's now I guess the hottest 168 fighter in the planet as of right now. So yeah, they're pinning up against these fighters, and they're saying these are the fights to make. And as I was going through these comments, I think the thing that really bugged me the most was the Caleb Plant slander, the disrespect that they had for Caleb Plant, saying, "Oh, Jaime Munguia beats Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant too chinny. Caleb Plant wouldn't be able to last. Munguia has too much power." And just blatantly just saying that Caleb Plant is not at the level of Jaime Munguia, which I find absurd. I think that's a terrible take. I think it's one that is very based on recency bias, because Caleb Plant is, if you like, they base it off his fight against McCumbee, and it wasn't the best Caleb Plant. Of course, it's a Caleb Plant is coming off over a year long layoff. He hasn't fought since the David Benavidez back in March of 2023. So, are you really gonna expect him to look as sharp, as precise as he was looking against Canelo when he fought Canelo for the undisputed back in 2021? No, he's not. Of course, he's getting back in the ring, taking out the ring rust. But they're all basing it off that performance, and they're just saying, "Oh, Munguia is gonna wipe the floor with him. He's gonna knock him out. He's too chinny." And I'm like, bro, you can't be. You got to be kidding.
Yeah, because I think me personally, it's a stylistic nightmare for Munguia. Caleb Plant is a guy that loves using his footwork. He uses his jab really well. He's a very slick fighter. He's quick as hell. He has very fast hands. They call him Sweet Pea. And so he's a really good fighter. And I think Munguia would struggle with that style. I mean, I think even it showed it on Friday, where Munguia sometimes struggled to track down his opponent and also cut the ring off. I think it'd be even worse. I think it'd be even harder, because Caleb Plant is the real deal. He is an elite fighter at 168, former world champion. A great story as well. His great personal story, overcome adversity. And I like Caleb Plant. He's one of my favorite fighters, honestly.
Yeah, for me, with Munguia winning, it proves to me, because I was a little doubtful about Munguia in the recent years, especially when he was over with Golden Boy. I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to be an elite fighter, and with this win, he does. Like, for me, I feel like he can be an elite fighter, or even then a world champion. Not only that, but he showed that he's working on new things. With respect to people saying that him being paired up with some of the other guys at 168, Berlanga, Mbilli, most notably Caleb Plant. In my opinion, I do believe that after Canelo either leaves the division or vacates the rest of his belts, I think it's really going to be between them two, Caleb Plant and Munguia, fighting for that number one spot. I do understand, I do have Caleb Plant having the upper edge because he is a boxer. There is so many more elements to his game plan, but I feel like Munguia I think he's going to fit comfortably at 168, and I think he's learning as well. He's developing new skills, new tricks. In regards to Caleb Plant getting that hate online, I think it's unwarranted. I think it stems a lot from him, his race, a white boy in boxing. There's not too many white boys you see in boxing. It's minority, mainly, I wouldn't say minorities, but people of skin, of a darker skin. Let's put it that way. But you can't count, and you can't say just because he's white he can't fight. Caleb Plant can fight. It doesn't matter. If you can fight, you can fight. This guy has shown that not only does he have a high ring IQ, he has fast hands, he has good footwork. Not only that, he can knock you out with one punch. Look what happened to Darrell, the last dude that called Caleb Plant a white boy. He buried him. He dug a grave for him.
Yeah.
When Caleb Plant first became a world champion, he was going up against a guy from South America, Uzcategui, a guy who's 6'2", power puncher. Everyone was scared of him. And Caleb Plant sat his ass down twice. So he has power in both hands. Or maybe not in both hands, but he's got power. So you can't count him out. So that's why, in my opinion, I do believe that once Canelo leaves, it's going to be between them two, Munguia and Caleb Plant.
Yeah, and also I feel like the chin part is also kind of questionable as well. I mean, you can call him chinny, but okay, he got knocked out by Canelo. Okay, that's Canelo Alvarez. That's the king right there in his era when he was tearing through the 168 division. And then we also got David Benavidez, who is huge. He's like 6'2", a very strong power puncher. And David Benavidez couldn't get him out of there. Sure, he hurt him. He hurt him bad. There was a couple instances where Plant was holding on for dear life. But I mean, I don't think Plant is that chinny. I think he has a decent chin, I mean, and he also the other aspect of the chin is he has amazing heart. Like he's a warrior. He's not going to back down from nobody. And if he gets hurt, he's gonna try to do his best to survive. So. Yeah, the hate is kind of crazy on Caleb Plant, but that's why he based his whole brand on the revenge tour. He has revenge clothing. It's revenge, dude. He's gonna beat Canelo in the rematch. Watch.
Yeah. So I mean, to say that Munguia can't beat Caleb Plant is a lie. I mean, we don't believe that, of course. I don't believe that, but I'd say it's more probable. I see Caleb Plant beating Munguia as more probable than Munguia beating Caleb Plant. The main issue would be, because we talked about it before, the gas tank of Caleb Plant. He does gas out second half of the fight. It showed most notably against David Benavidez. And it also drew all his against Canelo as well. So, anyways, regardless, the second half of the fight will be the best part for Jaime Munguia. He has shown that he's a volume puncher. He has shown that he's got a great gas tank, and he's shown that he can keep his power throughout all 12 rounds. I mean, look at the Derevchenko fight. He dropped Derevchenko in the championship rounds.
Last round, yeah.
Yeah. So, Jaime Munguia, Caleb Plant would be a great fight, and it's one that I wouldn't mind seeing. I would say Caleb Plant would come up on top, but to say Munguia could beat him, I wouldn't be upset about it. The big fight though, screw Berlanga. I mean, no Berlanga. I guess respect Berlanga, right? We all respect Berlanga. We all respect Berlanga now, right? But we all respect Berlanga right now, right? But I feel like the hype that he's getting right now is. It's like, okay, he went 12 rounds with Canelo, yes, but how many rounds did we actually give him?
And he took his best shot, too.
Okay, yeah, but regardless, I feel like the Berlanga fight would be a fun one. I mean, Mexico versus Puerto Rico financially makes sense. The whole pride is there, but stylistically, Berlanga gets obliterated by Jaime Munguia. Best one would be Munguia and Christian Mbilli. Both was top rank. Both with the same network. I mean, it's easy fight to make. Two top 10, or both fighters are in the top 10 contenders within each ranking, each organization. So why not make it next?
Yeah, and that would be a great. Yeah, stylistically, I mean, they're very similar. It's like two unstoppable forces meeting each other. I think Jaime Munguia has developed a little bit more patience and more finesse now. He's taken his time a bit more, but earlier in his career, he was just like one of those fighters, just go forward, throw punches. And that's kind of what Mbilli does. he goes forward and he throws a lot of punches as well. So I think that is a good stylistic matchup, and one that we'll see, like they're kind of fighting for like the second place, because I don't think either of them really have a big chance at fighting Canelo. For Jaime Munguia, I don't think he's going to get a rematch. For Christian Mbilli, he's just too not well known. So they're kind of just fighting for like maybe number one contender and maybe try to mandate it or something. But yeah, that would be a good stylistic matchup.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind this matchmaking either. The winner, well, maybe not the winner, but like Munguia, Mbilli, top rank, Matchroom, Pacheco, and Berlanga.
People also want Caleb Plant against Berlanga because of the beef that they have.
Oh, yeah.
Like the history they got. Or not really history, just the beef.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, they're two fighters on two different networks.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, that fight's going to be a little bit more harder to make. There's going to be a lot more obstacles to make. But like, I feel like for right now at this given point in time, I feel like that'd be a great matchup between those two sets of fights.
Well, actually, I mean, Caleb Plant fought on the same network as Berlanga right now on PBC. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but different managers.
It don't matter. The money's going to be there. If Turkey's the one who's going to finance it. I mean, or Prime. What? He's not with Prime, right?
No, he's with
not.
Al Heyman.
You're right.
Yeah, Al Heyman, and then Berlanga.
But I mean, if the money is there, they're both going to go for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we want to talk about money fights, I mean, you could say that about Munguia and Berlanga. That fight could be made too because it's a money fight.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see exactly which route Jaime Munguia takes, because I'm sure they're going to keep him active on Top Rank. Keep him active, and he is one of the top guys in the division now. I mean, he's ranked number 5 in pretty much every single belt. So
yeah, we'll see what Jaime Munguia decides to do. He did mention in this post-fight interview that he mentioned Mbilli, he mentioned these other names. I assume that they're gonna take the rest of the year off, and then hopefully come back next time. When is next time? Next year. And yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, like I said, I would much rather see Mbilli and Munguia fight. So maybe in May, that'd be a great, Mexican month to fight in. And it's one that's easy to make, and it's one that would be very entertaining. I think I'd do really well for the viewers, and I think it'd do really good numbers for Top Rank. So Jaime Munguia returned to the ring, got that win over Bosnian, and is now at a point of his career that he can go for other big fights now. He showed that he's able to still compete at the top level. He showed new aspects to his game, and it showed that he did learn a thing or two from the Canelo loss. But Jaime Munguia won, and very solidly, so very happy for the guy. You guys got anything else that you guys want to say about the Munguia fight? No? All right. Well, let us know down below, what did you guys think about the fight? What would you rate Jaime Munguia's performance? Also, let us know about Anthony Joshua. What's next for him? Is his career over? Is he quote unquote washed? Also, let us know about Daniel Dubois. What should he do next? What would you rank him in the top on your rankings for the heavyweight division? Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. Follow us on all forms of social media. We are on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, don't forget to join our Discord. We're trying to build up a community, and you guys joining would be greatly appreciated. Everything that I mentioned is down in the link in the description below. But this was Pablo, and I am with Rudo and Asa, and this was the Last Round Podcast. Thank you for watching.